Dante's discussion.
Welcome back to another edition of Dante's Discussion Questions. That's right, where I ask you a question about a specific topic. Of course, this one is going to be about Dark Souls 3, and you answer it, and we will go through the answers, your answers, in next week's Dante's Discussion. That's right. Anyways, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The question is, of course, like I said before, for Dark Souls 3, it's not what, should they have brought back the backstep, meaning as far as viabilities, should they have brought back the backstep with invincibility frames in Dark Souls 3? Now, of course, this was something that I actually learned a lot of it, if you will, later in my PvPs, using backstep as a viable option for spacing, and of course a viable option for just not rolling and getting out of certain situations. I believe, I could be wrong, but the iframes were a little bit lower than if you were to roll, and I think maybe, I don't know how it depended on adaptability and such, but let's just go for the core normalized backstep invincibility frames. And I think, in my opinion, I think they've basically mutilated it so badly to where backsteps are, I mean, I've seen people try to do them and try to be effective with them, but they're so slow and so poor that they're much worse than they should be. However, I am fine with there not being a backstep invincibility frames. I am not fine with the backstep being as slow as it is. I feel as though they nerfed the backstep so badly that people just don't even think of it as a thing to use because of how slow it is. Now, if it was quick and it had no invincibility frames, I think people would use it, and I actually think I would use it because spacing is such a huge thing. It's always been a huge thing in all the PvPs, but I think maybe even in this game in particular, it's probably the most because there are less less other issues to deal with, like, iframes, adaptability, being able to backstep, invincibility frames, and that. So I think in a sense, because they took away backsteps, they sort of made the game less complex, if that makes sense. By sort of taking away another avenue somebody can utilize in combat. And I mean, that's how I sort of see it. I could be wrong, but I sort of see it as another avenue of combat, another tool someone could or would or should use in certain instances. Now, I've seen in very few instances some PvPs where people have used backsteps. Usually it's not to get away from attack. Usually it's to start up a running attack animation, for their whatever weapon they're using. And that works sometimes. I've seen it work against me, of course, because it's so rare that when somebody backsteps, you're like, whoa, what is that? Why would you? Oh, I got hit. I got poked by, like, whatever spear. But it's not really a thing. As far as I know, it's very rare. And part of the issue is because of how slow it is and how sort of hard it is to activate if you're moving around. So if you're moving around and you just stop, you have to wait till your character stops. They'll do the forward momentum thing, stop, and then you press it. Because if you try to do it too quick, he won't do it, or your character won't do it, and then you're not doing a backstep. And then even when you do the backstep, it's so slow, and it's just like you still have to wait like the split second after you're done with it to try to do anything. And I don't know, they nerfed it too much. I think they took it so far to where it's not even really a thing to utilize. I mean, if you're doing good spacing anyway, then you don't need backsteps. But there are very few instances where I've seen it sort of get out of reach of an attack. But again, it's so slow in the action itself, you're probably going to get hit unless you can really predict of somebody. But then again, if you're that good at predicting an attack or something somebody's going to do, why not just parry? Because that's much more effective. So it's just a weird thing going on there. So that's what I think about it. I'm fine with it gone. as far as the invincibility frames, as far as how it was for evasiveness. But I feel as though they can make it quicker and quicker to start up or to act without it having iframes in order to maybe make it viable or something somebody would do. It sort of seemingly was sort of replaced by the weapon skill with a lot of daggers, which is cool that they have that, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm just curious on what you guys think. Should they have continued with the backstep of Dark Souls 2, meaning it's got the iframes, it's got sort of the speed and the very low stamina usage, or do you like how they have it in Dark Souls 3 where it's basically non-existent? Sound off in the comments below. You'll be heard through the world of 694. I'm dating this. 694 subs. I love every one of you except for the 94th. He's a scumbag. No, I'm kidding. I love you, not Mr. 94th, 694th. But sound off in the comments below. You'll be in the next video, of course, 1 week from today. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Hey, how many times I said that? Like 700 other times. Yes, that's right. I have more videos than subscribers. Get out there and tell people if you appreciate these videos. Thank you. And I will be back.